Welcome to Scofield Farm. Today I am going to plant my sweet potato slips. I've waited way too long for this. I know, I'm sorry. Well, not sorry to you. I'm sorry to my sweet potatoes. But I was really thrown off when the bed that I was planning on planting them in had a ton of burrowing critters, rodents, like ground squirrels, voles, probably gophers. We have not figured out what exactly it was, but it stole a bunch of things from that bed. And so I didn't feel comfortable putting them in there. I had to think of a solution. I'm going to show you today what I decided to do and just show you how we do it. It's super simple, but I love growing my own sweet potatoes. They're so creamy and delicious, and I just couldn't skip it this year. So we had to find a different way to do it. So it's a windy day, but we are going to finally plant those sweet potato slips. And I think I'm going to do a grow bag. I was going to do them in this bed, but we've had such a problem with burrowing rodents that stole plants that, see, all of these potatoes, those are volunteers from last year. Those are staying. They didn't cost me any, grief or pain, but you'll see maybe 5 pea plants because burrowing rodents stole the rest. They stole other plants in here, so I changed my mind. We're gonna do a grow bag. We'll punch out water from that water tube. We're just gonna fill it with some of this Happy Frog soil, and then I will plant them. Try to make sure the soil all goes in there. Whoa. Okay. It'll take us a couple of these bags. It's a 30-gallon grow bag. So it will take a little bit of soil, but this is going to help us at least get some sweet potatoes. My sweet potato slips look pretty sad because I've left them in the water hardening off in the sun way too long. This is really good soil, not just because it's Happy Frog, but because I get it from a friend of mine who has a microgreen business locally. And she sells to restaurants and stuff, has subscription based. She only uses her soil one time and then she does fresh bags. Every time she does microgreens, they don't take a lot of nutrients from the soil. She resells it, and so it makes it less expensive for me. It's very rich because even those little sprouts that come up later break down in the soil, and it works great for my garden. I also love knowing that I am reusing something that actually is still full of nutrients and making it a little bit more renewable just for our local community. It's a fun way to garden. Look at that. It's super rich. We don't even have to water this in. Oh my goodness, there's already worms in it. That's awesome. Hello, little worm. You are going to help my sweet potatoes, aren't you?
Water it in real fast and then run.
We don't need to water it in. It is so nice and moist.
Oh, good.
You'll see these old roots. These will all break down and just be more organic matter for our sweet potatoes. I probably won't get as many sweet potatoes, I hope, this year, but it's going to be better than those burrowing rodents taking all of them from us. So I'm going to smooth it out, try to make the best diameter, circumference, area. Oh my gosh. My boys are all such math boys. One of them's going to school for engineering, and I can't remember the correct math term that applies to my gardening. But you get what I mean. I'm gonna make the largest area that I can plant my slips into. Hopefully they send their tubers down deep so that we get as many sweet potatoes out of this as we possibly can. As I said, we will punch a water thing from the line that my husband ran over here. I've never had the luxury of having water in this part of the garden. So this is awesome. I mean, I'm so excited. We're actually going to Central America in a few weeks to visit his parents. My husband grew up in Guatemala. So we get to go back. It's been a full decade, and I want to make sure my garden is somewhat on autopilot. I will have someone coming and checking a few times to make sure nothing's gone crazy, but that's why we work so hard to get water to all the different parts of our garden so that hopefully it will live while we're gone. Here are some eggs I found in those soil bags. I don't know if they are old or not. There is a way to test them in water if they float, sink, if they kind of stand up on the bottom. We're going to definitely do that to see if these are edible. And maybe they'll be helpful, or maybe they'll have to be tossed. I'm not sure. I really have no idea how long they were in there, but I want to at least check and try. So this is how bad they look. Even the leaves are kind of dried out because somehow somebody did not put water in them. Whoopsie, it's just been so busy with graduations and birthdays and soccer tournaments. But these are going to get planted today. Even if they look bad, I still think that they could bounce back. At least I hope they can. Okay, it's the same day. I am back out in the garden, had a lot of stuff keeping me busy today. Having 7 kids, I tell you guys, it is such a blessing, and it also is such a whirlwind. I feel like there's always stuff going on, because there is always stuff going on. And there is so much change in our life right now. I mean, okay, these don't look very good, and part of the reason why is because of how busy our life has been. Somehow they didn't get watered. They've been hardening off in glass outside for a couple weeks, and they basically were in like boiling water, which is not good for plants. So that's my mistake. But we are going to plant them. I'm going to show you how I do that. It's pretty simple. It's something I love to do. I really do like sweet potatoes. They're really creamy. They're really delicious. I like them from the store, but I really like them homegrown, like even more than from the store, and I already like them. But I just want to say, like, some of the stuff going on for us. So I have my second born, just graduated high school, and thankfully it sounds like he's like 95% sure staying in town now and doing classes at the community college, maybe at a 4-year that's in town. That part's a little up in the air, but he was gonna go down to Southern California. So that is like nice to have him for 1 more year. My oldest was going to go to Davis and changed his mind to go to Southern California. So I'm not sure what his leave date is, but this mama's heart's like all of a sudden trying to adjust and prepare for him being a little harder to get to visit, a little further away. I think it's gonna be really good for him. It's just a whole new step in parenting for me, a whole new step in what all this looks like. And we are just so full, busy life with the homestead. We pastor a small local church in town. I don't know if you knew that, but we do. It's something that we do as a family, and we love it. We are very, very involved in ministry and enjoy that a lot. It's a small community, and also, well, just life with 7 kids, with soccer and dance and all the things. It's just really busy. So my mind is trying to adjust, like, if it takes me this long to plant out sweet potatoes when everyone is in the same town, what is it going to be like for me to be able to carve out time to go down and see him and still keep our family running? And that's just a mental adjustment. I know I'm going to be able to do it. I have adjusted for a lot of things. I adjusted for travel soccer. I've adjusted for my surgery I had on my shoulder in January. We're always adjusting, right? In life, we're always adjusting. It ebbs and flows. Somehow things we think are going to push us to the limit, somehow we have that extra grace to do them. But that's on my mind as I'm thinking about, this is the 2nd year in a row I've got my potato slips, my sweet potato slips in so late. I'm like, will they even make it? But that's just, I guess, the norm of trying to do real life while you actually try to grow food, you actually try to keep different animals. I mean, what if we were keeping like big livestock? That would be absolutely crazy. And that's part of why we don't have like milking goats or a dairy cow, because our schedule is so packed. I don't think I could give the adequate attention to them that I should. That little white butterfly moth, it's a cabbage moth, and I do have a cup of cauliflower and cabbages still in the garden, so I know that that thing is laying eggs, and it's like out of the corner of my eye as I talk to you. But anyway, that's enough. I can share more later. I want to go show you actually how I put the slips in. It's pretty easy. These are fully hardened off. I do have a video where I start them inside, and that's super easy and fun to do. But you know, you have to harden them off first. You don't want to have them started inside. You don't want to take the slips and have them root in water just inside and then give them the shock of being in the garden. You want them to spend time outside before they are living outside. These definitely have been hardened off, maybe too much, as I said, because I left them out there and sort of neglected them. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going to take these slips from here, and this is not ideal. Hopefully yours look a lot healthier than mine do. See this tangle of roots? I'm just going to separate the roots somehow. They probably ideally should be planted earlier than I did and not so tangled, but they're still green and growing on them, so it's going to work. I'm going to plant them into my grow bag and make room for all the roots to go underneath. Now, here's another one. Since the roots are so long, I'm gonna make pretty big holes for them. I don't know how many sweet potatoes this will actually grow because I actually used an entire garden bed last year. This year I'm only using a 30-gallon grow bag, so we may not have a whole lot, but I figure doing this is better than burrowing critters, getting them and then not having anything. You know, I had a ground cherry growing in the area I wanted to grow sweet potatoes, and it was a really big plant and they took the whole thing. So I just don't want to risk that with sweet potatoes. I like to get a harvest even if it is a small harvest. Oh, poor little rooster. He's getting picked on by all the other chickens. Poor little guy. You see, he's right there. He's just got introduced to the rest of the flock, and they are not accepting him that great so far. That is our main alpha rooster, Sam, right there. And he's actually blocking my view of Baby Man. My kids named this little guy Baby Man. He's like a bantam. Oh my, he's so feisty too. Okay, these literally smell like stagnant water because I waited so long. That is not ideal. This one I'm gonna plant right here. Nice long roots, trying to give him a lot of room down there. I have a ton of soil. This is very deep. So there's no reason not to give them a ton of room. I have a couple more that I haven't pulled the slips off of the potatoes. I may or may not try to grow slips from those just because last year when I did that, I started some a little bit later. They didn't do very well. So that's why I'm debating if I do that or not. This one can actually be 2. Yeah, this water smells like stagnant water. It is definitely not in the best timing for this. That is my mistake. I think these might be enough slips for this area anyway. I don't know if it would be beneficial to even add more. I feel like it might be too crowded to add more than what I have in here. We'll water it in a little bit with our gross water. Okay, I'll show you what this looks like so you have an idea. So I do need to water it in a little better, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think. 8 slips in this grow bag. And we can see how much this actually produces. I am glad to have something rather than nothing. Well guys, even though some of this garden is getting planted later than I planned, which also happened last year for different reasons, but also family reasons, and a lot of them were also medical, it turned out okay last year. We had tons of peppers, we had beautiful sunflowers, lots of tomatoes. We had a really successful year. So I'm sure that this year will be the same, even with some things being later than I originally hoped, but it's coming together and I love to share it with you. And you know what? I love to show you some more of my sweet potato videos. So I'm going to link right here to a giant fun treasure hunt harvest I did with my kids at the end, like in the fall, at the end of our last summer gardening season. So I will see you over there, and thank you for joining me today.